Hi everyone, I'm Ben, and this is the Board Game Blueprint. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite prototyping tools that I use to, well, get all my materials and things ready for the next playtest. It's as simple as that, so let's go on over to the table next door and see what I've got in store for you. I thought we'd start with probably the most used piece of equipment in my little toolbox, which is this giant paper cutter. I inherited it from my mother, who went through a big scrapbook phase as my brother and I were growing up to take documentation of our family road trips and just, again, how we were looking as we went through different grades of school. But what I really like about it is that it's really, really wide. So I can get probably a nice 11 by 17 piece of paper, a tabloid in the US size of whatever print I've gotten off, and just kind of cut it across the way. I guess, use it upside down. You can sort of see that the numbers are the other way, but I just prefer, I guess, being able to, when I'm looking over, seeing all the content that I'm saving versus all the content that I'm cutting off. That's just a little quirk, I suppose, about how I prefer to look at things, and it would be great if I actually saved something to cut to show you kind of how things line up. But this little cutter will tilt up, you slide the paper underneath, and then you'll just sort of bring it on down. And you'll lose what you don't want, and then you'll get to keep whatever it is that you're looking for. So this is awesome for my cards and some tiles, I suppose, if they're not in some kind of crazy shape. As you can imagine, really awesome for linear and straight cuts. When I'm creating a print and play file or something for cards that I want to cut out with the paper cutter, I'll often have a little, like a dashed line printed off as well underneath the artwork, so that I have a little bit of something that I can use to gauge edge to edge how I'm going to line up the paper for when I do go across. And if you don't have access to a paper cutter, there's nothing wrong with an old-fashioned ruler and scissors. I just know that for me, the rotary cutter saves quite a bit of time instead of having to snip all the way across a page, and it also sort of ensures a more straight cut than if you had a little bit of wave action going. These next two items are some seriously sweet punches that I picked up from a local craft store like Michael's, or at least one of them I did, I think. The left one here is a circle punch, as evidenced by the circle that's printed on it, and what you do is you slip your material inside and punch out. I like to use both hands thusly to really make sure that the cardboard comes out in a perfect circle. And yep, we have the little shape here. So this, I believe, is a 1-inch diameter, but other sizes are available, whether online or in store. But this SS Enterprise looking one is awesome because it punches out hexagons. I've had greater success using thinner materials like the cardboard of a tissue box or cereal box for this one, just because if I think of how the punch operates. Based on this kind of grip cut, you can see, yep, the blade goes all the way up through the little gap that you would stick the material into. And I've made countless hexagons that I still have yet to use just because it was really awesome and satisfying to hear the cardboard punch out. And if you want to go the extra mile, you might consider getting a corner rounder. So in a similar fashion, you stick your material through and then push down to get a rounder edge onto your cards or maybe even tile type pieces. This one here was not so great to me. I've had mixed results with it. I'm not sure if it's because of the material that I was using was maybe too thin, or just that the blade was too dull after a couple of uses. So I asked for this one for Christmas from my brother, and I like it. I haven't used it yet, but I like that it offers 3 different sizes of roundation, if you will. So depending on which entrance or portal you decide to put your material in, you'll get a different round size. And last but certainly not least is the Game Crafter Game Designer's Ruler. As we saw in our previous video that JT had done up, it's got so many awesome uses, and I think my favorite one, aside from all the different icons and shapes that you can easily trace out, is the fact that it has different dimensions of cards readily available for you, so that you can check the different relationship maybe between one component to the next very quickly. I can't tell you how many times that measuring maybe an already existing component from a different game has been to informing the size or dimension of a component that I want to include in one of my designs. Most recently are the trees in my fantasy golf game that were pretty much inspired by those of photosynthesis. So thank you for being able to measure that out for me, Game Designer's Ruler. And those were just a couple things that I like to use to get my latest design to the table. If there's something that you use that you didn't see in this video, please leave it in the comments below so that I can add it to my toolbox. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on future content like this. As always, I'm Ben. This has been another episode of the Board Game Blueprint, and together, let's build something great.